again, everybody. It's Dirk, coming to you from the lovely state of Minnesota. Yes, we're up north. We're up in the northern Midwest, Minnesota. Love this state. Absolutely beautiful.
Be in any of the three left lanes.
So, we're just going through the traffic, construction traffic, as you can see.
Use the left 2 lanes to stay on I-94
I-94 west of Minneapolis. They're tearing everything up here, so they're completely rebuilding this thing. So,
use the left 2 lanes.
I apologize for the
west.
GPS is yakking their ears off here, so we should be through this mess here in a minute.
8.4
anyway,
miles ahead. Use the left lane to stay on I-94 west.
Let me mute her. There we go. So, started off my week. As you might recall, if you watched the last video, I ended last week in a pretty big mess as far as I'm concerned. Some dispatching snafus that ended up costing me quite a bit of time and having me getting home very late for my home time. So, that in itself wasn't really the issue. I get it, with trucking. There's no guarantee that you're ever going to get home at a certain time. So I get that. It's just the whole circus of doing backflips to get that last load delivered, and the cost that came along with it in terms of time on my part, time not moving, downtime, and doing work while I'm really not on the clock technically. So I don't like that. But anyway, what are you going to do? So rolling forward into this week, I'm thinking, okay, let's get a fresh start. Let's get this going. And very first thing I get dispatched, I get a call from the head guy over there in dispatch. Very nice guy. Really quite a good guy to work with, actually. Very, very nice, very knowledgeable. And he says, hey, listen, I got a load that I want you to go get, because, of course, when I go home, I'm bobtail, so, without a trailer. And he said, this one is a relay, so it's a shipment that another driver had, and their clock ran out or what have you, or they had a breakdown or something, and while en route, and at some point along the journey, and they had to drop the trailer, and now they need another driver to finish it off. So, which is fine. That happens all the time in trucking at any company. That's part of the business. That's normal. So I said, okay, what's going on? Where do I need to go? And he said, well, I need you to head down to a facility down in Rochelle. Now, again, I live up on I-94 near the Wisconsin border in Illinois. I guess you could say right around Waukegan, in that neighborhood. And so he said, why don't you just run down Bobtail, go down to Rochelle, Illinois, which is on the I-88 corridor. It's by 88 and 39, actually, if you're familiar. And grab this trailer. And so he sends me the pre-plan. I said, okay, no problem. And I look at it. The pre-plan's showing, okay, I've got to pick this thing up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, this is on, what day was that? Sunday. So Sunday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I got to pick this trailer up in Rochelle. And it is going to Mankato, Minnesota, to the Walmart distribution center. They have a big grocery distribution center up there in Mankato. Actually quite similar to the grocery distribution center that I pulled out of in Sterling, Illinois, which is incidentally right down the road from Rochelle, where I was picking up this trailer. So, that was my former stomping grounds. Very, very well versed in that whole area. I used to pass by that Tyson place pretty much daily, 3-4 times a day sometimes. So off I went. I had to pick this trailer up at 3, and of course that's all I'm really focused on. I got to get down there by 3. You get this trailer, and so I get there, and of course it's never as simple as just going and hooking up to a trailer, right? So, I'm waiting, 6 trucks deep at the entry gate, sitting there forever and a day, and then finally it's my turn to come into the gate, and I tell the guy, the security guy there, I'm like, hey, I'm picking up, this number, I had it in my phone. I always have the dispatch pre-plans in my phone. So I have all the numbers that they need, the bill of lading or what have you, pickup number, pickup order, whatever. They always want something. They want something different. So, and there's a zillion numbers. So, I have my phone there, and I'm like, here's the load that I got to pick up, and it's going to Mankato to Walmart. And it's a relay. And I told him that. It's a relay load. I got to pick up the trailer. So he goes, okay, well, just bobtail on over to the office over there, and park, and then go in, and they'll get you set up with your paperwork. So fine, great. I've been to Rochelle before, so I know the drill. I've never picked up a relay trailer there, but I've picked up there, and that sounds normal to me. Okay, so I'll go, and
there is currently light traffic on your
I'll pick
route.
up my stuff. So I go and I park and I go in there. And I wait in line, and I finally get up to the counter, and after a while of waiting, and the guy says, I can't find this load anywhere. I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. And I'm giving him all the numbers and stuff, and he goes, yeah, I just don't have it. And I'm like, huh. I said, well, dispatch said it was a relay load. And he goes, oh, it's a relay. Oh, well, they have all that at the guard shack at the gate. I'm like, really? Okay, well, the gate guy told me to come to you. And he goes, no, you got to go back there. Okay, so, great. Another, half hour, 45 minutes wasted. I go back over to the gate. Same guard guy. I'm like, hey, they sent me back over here because it's a relay load. You guys are supposed to have the paperwork. And he goes, oh, it's a relay. Why didn't you say so? I'm telling you everything I could do to bite my tongue. I said relay load at least twice when I was talking to him, but I shut up because there's no point. I don't like to, cause friction when there's no upside to it. There's no way you can improve the situation. So, bite my tongue. I said, you know what? I maybe I forgot to mention it. I don't know, but yeah, it's a relay load.
In 1 3/4 miles, keep right on I-94.
So, and of course I know I'm coming back to this place, and I'll be coming back to that place a lot. So, I don't want to make any enemies there. So, I played it off, and, okay, maybe I forgot to mention it. No, I didn't. Anyway, so I get my paperwork, points me to the direction of where the trailer's at. Okay, fine. I hook the trailer, I go, I scale it, I'm good, everything's wonderful. So, as I'm scaling this thing, I'm looking a little more closely at the dispatch, and the delivery time. Now, mind you, with Walmart, when they give you a delivery time, it's always some weird, like it can never be like 3:30. It has to be like 3:37. I'm surprised they don't put the seconds down. 3:37 and 42 seconds. It's really bizarre. I don't know where they come up with it. But anyway, I look at this one, and it's 03:35 the following morning. So this coming, now it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Be in either of the 2 right lanes.
And I'm there at 3. So now by this time it's already 4:30, something like that in the afternoon. Because, it takes a while to get through all of their bureaucratic crap and standing in line and blah, 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 right? So, it's like 4:30 in the afternoon, I'm reading this thing now, and I'm like, okay, wait a second. 3:30 in the morning. Now, I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at my miles, and I'm looking at the time it's going to take me to get to Mankato. And I'm like, okay, well, I can make it there, within my clock.
I-94.
I can make it to Mankato just fine. But by 3:30 in the morning, or 3:35 in the morning, I will have been out of hours by, a couple hours. I would get there probably, if I went straight there, I'd make it there by like, 11:30, something like that, maybe midnight at the latest, and I would still be okay on my clock. I'd be at the end of it, but I'd be okay. So it was another one of these deals where, by design, I have to now go run straight up there, go to Walmart early, knowing full well that Walmart will never, ever, ever take you early. So I have to show up there early, get refused because I'm too early, and then, again, PC, personal conveyance, over to a truck stop and say I need to take a shower, so that I would be able to PC back, even though I'm out of hours, to make that 3:30 appointment, 3:35 appointment. And again, that's a stretch of that rule. I don't like doing that. I just don't think it's right. It's not what that rule was intended for. Now, technically, is it legal? Yes, it is. Do a lot of people do that? Yeah, they probably do. Do I like doing it? No, I don't. I just don't. I'm a Boy Scout. I'm ex-military. I don't like breaking rules. I don't like bending rules. I just don't like it, and especially when it's my CDL that can be affected by it. So I'm en route, and I call dispatch and I let them know, hey, this is the situation. What do you guys want me to do? And I'm prepared to do it. It's like, okay, fine. I don't like doing it, but it is technically legal. So I'll do it if you want me to do it. And I tell the guy, now this is not the head guy that gave me the load. This is another person that's answered the phone. And I said, look, I'm coming up on one of the last, really decent places to park, before I hit the Mankato area, because once you're up there, there's really not a lot of places to park. There's, a few little mom and pop truck stops, but they fill up to the brim because there's a Walmart distribution center in Mankato. So, and maybe something else, I don't know, but they're always packed. And I'm coming in there late at night, so chances of finding parking are pretty much zero. So I'm just coming up on this Love's, which is the last Love's before you get into Mankato. It's in St. Charles, and I asked the guy, look, should I do that? That little PC shuffle, as I would call it, or should I just pull over here? I'm 2 hours outside of Mankato, and call it a day. And he said no. He said, you know what? Take your regular break. He said, stop at that Love's. You're 2 hours out. That's fine. Just stop there. Take your 10, and we'll deal with it. I'm like, are you sure? And I said it exactly that. I said, man, are you sure? Because this is Walmart. If you miss an appointment with Walmart, you have to reschedule it. You can't just show up there. So when you reschedule it, it's generally not something where they go, oh yeah, why don't you come back in an hour? No, it's usually, why don't you come back the next day? And I know that, because I know Walmart. I worked their account for quite a while. So, and I stopped him like 3 times. I'm like, dude, if they have to reschedule us, and he cut me off. He's like, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. He said, just take your break, and, you don't need to do that, that whole show up in PC. Just take your break. Okay. So I went, stopped at the Love's, took my 10-hour break. Come next morning, it's, I don't know, 6 o'clock, something like that, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. No, I'm sorry, 9 o'clock in the morning. And I'm still haven't heard anything from dispatch. I'm like, okay, this is weird. So I call in. Well, now I get the head honcho again answering the phone. And he goes, how did that delivery go? I said, what do you mean, how did that delivery go? And he goes, your delivery. I'm like, I haven't delivered it yet. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, and I told him, last night I was coming close. I called in. I asked, what did you guys want me to do? and they told me to park it and take my 10. And I could just hear him like exploding, silently exploding. Of course he's not saying anything like that to me, but I could hear in his voice that, he's upset at that decision. And then he's like, no, don't worry. It's nothing about you. You're fine. You did what you were told. That's fine. That's great. He said, but I would have suggested something differently at that point. But okay, so we'll have to deal with it. So why don't you just sit tight? Sit tight. We'll give you, we'll let you know when we reschedule, and we'll let you know when you need to get moving again. I'm like, okay. So I'll just wait for you to call, right? And he's like, yep. And he goes, it's probably going to be the next day. I'm like, okay, great, wonderful. So, now I'm up at, 9 o'clock in the morning. And this was, of course, yesterday, actually, the day before yesterday now. Sure enough, I have to sit overnight again at this truck stop. So I burned a day, basically. Lost a day sitting in a truck stop because of this, first of all, impossible dispatch. Again, not enough hours to make it without having to do this little PC shenanigans at the end, which I don't like. So in my book, that's just not dispatched properly. That appointment should have been rescheduled from the get-go. To rely on drivers doing a PC like that, I just don't think it's right. Maybe I'm too sensitive about it. I don't know, but I don't like it. But anyway, I was prepared to do it, but didn't happen. So I wasted a whole day. So this morning, my morning started off at midnight, at 12 midnight. Did my pre-trip there at the Loves in the dark, and took off for my 2-hour drive to Mankato, or 2.5 hour, whatever. I left at like 12:30. Got there at 2:30. My appointment was for 3:30. So if you show up, an hour early, generally they take you. And sure enough, I rolled in there at 2:30. They're like, I said, hey, I'm a bit early. And they're like, yeah, no problem. You're an hour. That's fine. So they gave me a door, and in I went. That DC actually is pretty good. I was there for, I don't know, maybe 3 hours, something like that, which for a Walmart, that's not bad. And they offloaded me, live offload. And so now my trailer's empty, and off I go. So now I'm heading up somewhere up north here in Minnesota. I can't remember exactly the town. It's a small town, and it's a very small little facility. Obviously something to do with meat. I don't know what they do, whether it's pork or chickens or whatever. I don't know. Never been there, and I forget the name of the town, but it's a very small. I looked on Google Earth, and it's like a tiny little place in the middle of nowhere. So I'm heading way up north of Minneapolis on 94 right now. Gonna pick that up, and then that has to go to Council Bluff, Iowa. But once again, I'm looking at my clocks here, and I've been rolling nonstop as much as I can. I'm using all of my clock, but I'm a little bit iffy here because I got like my 11 and my 14 are both at 6.5 hours right now, and this appointment time isn't until 3 in the afternoon. Well, it's 7:35 a.m. right now, and I've got 6.5 hours left on my clock. So I'll again be out of hours before that appointment time. So it just keeps going and going and going. So this is going to be yet another thing. I got to call into dispatch, ask them what the hell they want me to do, because the times they're giving me are just, they're not possible. Clocks work in a certain way. They have 60 seconds to 60 minutes, that turn into hours, and these are finite things. So, what type of magic do you want me as a driver to do when you give me these dispatches? So, as you can tell, I'm a little bit frustrated. So, anyway, just wanted to check in. That's it for now. I'll keep you posted. I just kind of wanted to, go and document this week as it happens. So, more later. All right, guys, back again. I am at my shipper, my customer, up in northern Minnesota. Gosh, I still don't remember the name of the place, the town. Let's see here if I can find it on the tablet. Not that it's all that important, but what the hell. Long Prairie, Minnesota. So I've got the side mirror cams on. I thought I would capture a little back end. This is a pretty tight little yard they got here. Looks like it was pretty newly built, but here we go, guys. I'm going to try and back into this door. Very tight quarters. I kind of stuffed myself into this little corner back here while I waited, because I came way early, so they weren't quite ready for me. So, which is fine. When you come early, you can't expect to get in all the time because the stuff isn't ready. So, so the first thing I'm going to need to do is make a U-turn, and this is a very tight little yard. So. Bear with me as I do this little maneuver. There's door 2 dead ahead of us. That's where we are backing onto. But before we can do that, I gotta spin this sucker around. So let me take up some space here. So I always go nice and slow, especially on a customer facility. Definitely want to make sure you don't hit anything. So I'm basically just turning into a gigantic circle. I'm watching my right hand side. I don't want to jackknife, but I need to pull that trailer around enough to angle it back on in there. And this is going to take probably a few back and forths to get that done, and that's okay. You do whatever you need to do to get it done, right? So straighten it out now and see where we end up. We should be somewhat close to an angle that I can work with. And let's see, the mirrors tell no lies. There we go. All right. So we're going to back this sucker straight. I want to get my back end over as far as I can. This is going to work out nicely because now I can make a non-blindside turn. I can turn in and have the arc on the driver's side, which is what we want, because that way you can see what's going on in the mirrors. Now I even take it a step further and I lean out. Because that gives me a really good frame of reference of how the arc of my turn is going. There we go. It's getting there. It's getting there. I know I'm clear on the passenger side. That's the beauty of such a small customer lot. There's nobody over there. I know that. Here's where I start screwing up. I should have gotten straight quicker. But I didn't, but I can fix it. So I'm still okay on that back corner. I'll still clear that little concrete wall. Now I'm going to kick the trailer a little bit over and then come back with it. And too far back. That's okay. I'm still a good distance away from it. I don't want to hit that sucker. I'm looking for my tandem wheels. My tandem wheels to be at that pivot point to where I can clear that little concrete wall, and I can see them now. I'm getting close. You see where my wheels are, see where the tires are on that driver's side, and now I can straighten this thing out and crank her on over to that door. Now I'm going to have to probably do a pull-up, I'm guessing, but that's okay. pull-ups are better than hitting something. You can do anything you want, just don't hit anything. Alright, so now let's bring it back over. Let's get ourselves straight. I'm going to have to get out and open those doors. Got the trailer pre-chilled to the temp that they wanted. I don't recall what that was offhand. But I'll be right back. We'll open those doors up. So a couple of things of note. Whenever I'm outside of this truck, I never touch anything without gloves, number one. First of all, it protects your hands for the obvious reasons, but what a lot of people don't think of is that when your hands get caked with crap, you come back into your truck, which is your home, and your dirty hands are all over everything and everything gets trashed. So that's the real reason. I don't mind washing my hands. I just don't want to have shit all over my truck. So the other thing, I don't know if you were paying attention or not, but you'll notice when I open those doors, I always have two hands on doors, always. And that is a really good habit to get yourself into, because one of these days, if you're just lackadaisically throwing doors open or just holding onto it with a finger or whatever, a big gust of wind is going to catch that door, and it's going to come over and smack you, and it's going to smack you something good. And those doors are heavy, especially on a reefer trailer. You've got a whole bunch of insulation on those doors. They're pretty thick and they're very heavy, and if one of those things gets loose in the wind and nails you upside the head, you are going to wish that you had a better grip on it. Trust me on that one. I've only seen it once so far, but last winter I saw a guy on a Walmart dock just kind of, take the easy road, not paying attention, and one hand on the door, a gust of wind hit it. It knocked him silly. I mean, it knocked him 10 feet backwards. And he was pretty slow getting up, and he tried to shake it off like no big deal, hey, I'm Joe Cool. But I could tell he was in some serious pain. That is just not a smart thing to do. So always hold on to those doors, guys. You don't want to get yourself smacked. Okay, we're on the door. I give it one more squeeze, give it the brakes, and that's it. There we go. So nice little tight yard, and we're on the door. So anyway, more later. All right, well, about the only saving grace for this day, for this whole trip for that matter, is the beauty of Minnesota. Yeah, close that window. So I backed onto that door, as you saw. I sat there for a good half hour, and somebody comes walking out after about a half an hour sitting there. Young lady, she tells me, hey, we can't load your trailer because the trailer smells. All right. Well, welcome to Reefer. Welcome to Reefer Madness. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. Reefer Madness. It's about as stupid as that movie. Yeah, so evidently a trailer that was washed out in North Carolina, loaded with consumer and packaged frozen meat, consumer packaged, ready for the store shelf, loaded into this trailer, delivered at a Walmart DC a few hours earlier. I look at the trailer is perfectly fine. I didn't even need to sweep the thing. It was immaculate. Did it smell like a reefer trailer? Yeah, it smelled like a reefer trailer. They all smell to some degree. I mean, they don't smell like a bouquet of flowers. They all have a little bit of a tinge of musty smell to them. Even the reefer trailers that I pulled for Walmart that had nothing but consumer and packaged product in them. They never had any raw meats or anything of the sort in those trailers. And they smelled a little bit musty. Why? Because moisture. They get wet on the inside. And it doesn't mean that they're molding or off. I mean, they just have a certain smell to them. So I explained to this young lady that, hey, this trailer was washed out before the last load was put in it. The last load was consumer and packaged frozen meat, ready for the store shelves, that maintained a frozen state until taken off of the truck in that frozen state by a Walmart distribution center. By the way, Walmart distribution centers happen to be quite fussy about what they take and what they don't, so had there been any problem or issue with that product, they damn sure wouldn't have accepted it. So, you know, what are you going to do? Well, we can't load the trailer. All right? That's fine. You know, I'm not going to argue with them. They don't want to load the trailer. What are you going to do? So, the next problem is that as I was sitting there waiting for 4+ hours, I ran out of clock. So I am officially out of hours. So that means that the next time that I move this truck, it is going to have to be moving from their facility to a truck stop under personal conveyance, because I can't stay on their property and I have to find safe parking. And that's legal. You can do that. And that's what I'm doing now. So, to make it even more frustrating, before I sat there for 4+ hours, when I first got to this facility, the very first thing that happened was that same young lady came out to greet me. And she was, mind you, she's very friendly, very polite, very nice lady. I mean, nothing against her. She came out and checked me in, and I opened the trailer for her, and she looked inside, stuck her head in the trailer, saw that it was clean, didn't mention anything about an odor at that time, and asked me to set the trailer a little bit colder, actually. I had it running at about 32, and they wanted it a little bit colder. Fine, okay, so I changed the temperature for her. She saw that I changed it. She saw it was confirmed in the reefer, and it was on continuous run at the temperature she wanted. She was happy. She said, okay, we'll just pull over to that fence over there, and we'll try to get you in as soon as we can, because I was early. And I said, okay, thank you. So I pulled over onto that fence, and I waited. Well, 4+ hours later, now the trailer evidently smells. The trailer only got colder. So I really don't get it. It's reefer madness. I'm telling you, that's what it is. Reefer madness. And not in a good way. So now I'm heading off to this truck stop, where I'm now going to have to take a 10-hour break. Then, when I come off of my 10-hour break, this truck stop has the only truck wash around for 100 miles, and they're by appointment only. So I won't be able to start rolling as soon as my 10 hours are up. I'm going to have to wait probably till 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, whenever they decide to show up, and get a trailer washout, so that I have the document receipt, so that no matter what the damn trailer smells like, I can show them a piece of paper saying it was just washed out, and get the damn trailer loaded. This is insanity. If somebody told me, well, if somebody told me, there are plenty of people on YouTube that have told me all about Reefer. Me, being the idiot that I am, thought, how bad could it be? You know, so you gotta wait a little bit here and there. How bad could it be? Yeah, Reefer madness. It can be pretty frickin' bad. You know what? I'm in this business to drive a truck. I like driving a truck. I like to operate and maneuver a truck. I like backing a truck. I like doing all the things you do with a truck. I do not like sitting around for hours on end with my thumb up my ass because of Reefer madness. And here we go again. This is getting very old very quickly. Anyway, on that note, I wish you all a wonderful day, certainly a day better than mine is being. And yeah, more later. I will try to regroup and recoup my sanity. And tomorrow is another day, right? So, until then, be safe, be well, be happy. If you're not happy, do something to make yourself happy. And I'll see you later. See ya!
Please drive to Highland.
62 bottles of beer on the wall, 62 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 61 bottles of beer on the wall, 61 bottles of beer on the wall, 61 bottles of beer. Take one down, hey, pass it around. 60 bottles of beer on the wall. Now just the ladies. 60 bottles of beer on the wall.